All right, what's up, YouTube? Clearly, I'm not home. I'm out in Vegas. Here for my boy's wedding. All right, friend of the channel, friend in real life, USA MVP is getting married tomorrow. So a lot of you, or at least at one point, you subscribe to him. He's again, that's my real friend. Like we hang out, but you seen us do videos before. But that's my boy. All right, for years. I known him for 15, 16 years now. He's getting married tomorrow. So we out in Vegas. This is my first time staying in Vegas and not staying in the Strip. I kind of enjoy it. It's beautiful out here. I wish I could show you. I'll probably put a video. You know, when I usually travel, I try to do a video, put it together. So I'm going to try to do a video and, post some of the things I've done and seen since I've been out here this weekend. But, yo, let's talk about the Avengers. Let's talk about comic book movies. Okay, shout out to 10 Players. He kind of inspired me to do this video because I saw the Avengers 4 movie with Thanos, and I was very hyped about that. I did see it. There's gonna be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the movie, please turn this off. All right, I'm not doing no spoiler free. If you haven't seen it by now, then shame on you. You're about to get spoiled. But listen, man. It was a great movie. It's definitely in my top 5 comic book films all time. I've been sitting here thinking, and this is a video I wanted to do already, but I just couldn't come up with a top 5 right now because I want to let this movie breathe and maybe revisit this conversation maybe a year or two from now. I watch a lot of comic book films over and over on my free time. I watched the Civil War a couple of times in the past few weeks. I watched the Winter Soldier a couple of times in the past few weeks. Those are like 2 of my favorite all time. I did see The Dark Knight. I did watch The Dark Knight Returns. I watch these movies because I want to compare them, okay, to all movies, like all my favorite movies. I want to just kind of compare. When a new movie comes out and it's great, I want to watch the older ones and kind of see where I rank it at, So let's just briefly talk. I'm not going to go too much into the movie because the main reason why I made this video is to kind of rank my movies, sort of. I thought that this movie was great. I don't have any problems with the movie, okay? But I left the movie theater thinking, as good as it was, and I don't have any complaints, something was missing out of this film. I don't know what it was, but something was missing. And I don't know what it was. I don't know, I don't know where to rank it, but it's definitely in my top 5. But I'm glad it was the way it was. Because going into this film, I knew the background, the backstory to this movie. I know it was altered dramatically because, you have a 2-hour film. You're not going to be able to fit everything that is in the comic books into this movie. Okay? So I had an idea, I knew enough about the story to know that the Avengers shouldn't win this battle. I knew they shouldn't win. If they find a way to have a good ending to this film, I would have been disappointed. Okay, I like the ending. I like the way they stopped it, where everybody dies, and I like the way that they finished it off. It was just something missing out of that film that made me not say it's not perfect, but it's damn near close to it. Thanos. Let's talk about Thanos. I feel like this was his film. This could have been his film. It didn't even have to be an Avengers film. This was his film. Greatest villain I've seen, and definitely in the Marvel side of films. Joker, Heath Ledger, obviously all-time great comic book villain. Okay, but Thanos is probably a very, very close second to me at this point. It was never debatable at any point in any Marvel or comic book film to me who was the best villain. outside of Heath Ledger. I think Thanos was definitely my favorite. A lot of people recently like Killmonger. I think Killmonger was definitely top 3 or 4. But Thanos was dope. Everything about him, the way that he looked, his coolness. I liked him better in this film than I did in the comic book. You know, the guy was somewhat human. He had like a human, cool way about him. Very cocky kind of way, and at the same time, he had feelings. I liked him better in the film than I did in the comics. He was like crazy in the comics. In the film, it like he had a heart somewhat. And he really believed that he was doing the right thing. I thought he was brilliant in this movie. I have no complaints. Definitely the best MCU or Marvel overall comic book villain by far. The movie was great. The action was great. There was never a dull moment. I think the only period that I didn't really care for was the period where Thor needed to remake his hammer. I think that whole process with I don't know the guy's name, the giant midget guy. I thought that whole scene was like, I just couldn't wait till it was over. But outside of that, I thought the movie was great. I'm disappointed with the Hulk. I don't know what that was about. I didn't watch the trailers going into this movie. I don't watch trailers to certain movies. I didn't watch the trailer to Civil War, so I didn't know what to expect at the end there. I was totally shocked at the end of Civil War. You guys remember I made a video on the Civil War movie. I didn't really know what to expect in that movie. Okay. I didn't know what to expect here. I did see the Hulk in the trailers that they still show with the Hulk running in the background while they're on the field in the war scene. He's not fighting in the movie after he gets his ass kicked. He's not in the movie. And I just don't know where they're going. I understand that he might be scared. Now, I thought it was funny in the beginning when Iron Man and Doctor Strange, that first scene where, the first fight, I thought it was funny that he wouldn't come out. But to go all the way into the final scene where they're having a war now and everything is, there's points in the war that they're losing. And I'm like, okay, is the Hulk going to come out? I didn't want to see Bruce Banner fighting in the Hulkbuster suit. Okay, I just didn't want to see that. At some point I was expecting him to break through the suit and fight these guys. So those were the only 2 complaints I've had in the whole film. Okay, outside of that, I loved it all the way through. All right. Now, where do I rank it? Well, before I tell you where do I rank it, I want, like I said, I want the movie to breathe a little bit. I want to revisit this a couple years from now. There's movies like The Dark Knight Rises, where I thought it was excellent. I didn't think it was better than The Dark Knight, but I thought it was still a top movie as far as comic book films. And I watched it recently, and it just doesn't hold up to what it was back then when it came out. Okay, The Dark Knight still holds up to me. I think that movie is timeless. Certain movies are just not timeless. I think The Dark Knight is. The Dark Knight Rises was good, but I can't say, maybe it's a top 10 film. And there's been a lot of movies that came out since then. The Dark Knight is arguably still, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, comic book film of all time. But I don't know where I'm going to rank this movie, but I want to say Infinity War is in my top 5, probably in my top 3. For sure, without a doubt, my favorite comic book films, my top 4, not ranked: The Dark Knight, The Winter Soldier, Civil War, and now the Infinity War movie. Okay. Without a doubt, those are my favorite 4. I'm not sure where I want to place it yet. Uh, but I'll tell you that The Winter Soldier and Civil War, I've been going back and forth. I've watched both of those movies recently, twice, and I'm still not sure. Some days I could watch The Winter Soldier and like this movie better than Civil War. And I watched Civil War right after, and I'm like, I don't know, you know. Uh, but let me throw a few movies out there that were personally like some of my other favorite movies that people don't mention that much. I am a big fan of the first two Blade movies. I know a lot of people don't talk about them. I know a lot of people feel that the Black Panther was the first black superhero and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of the first two Blade movies. I was even trying to think which one I rank more, higher. I thought both of those movies were excellent. You know, Wesley Snipes was excellent as Blade. Even both villains in both films were great. I still watch that movie regularly. You know, I haven't gone a full year without watching both of those movies since that movie came out. Both of them came out. Blade 2, certain parts about Blade 2 I like more. They had Donnie Yen, and I'm a big fan of Donnie Yen. I'm a big fan of martial artists. He's one of my favorite, action actors. Period. Big fan of Donnie Yen. Huge fan of Donnie Yen. I think that was his first big American movie. But Blade 1 and 2 are two of my favorites. So two of my top 10 favorite all time. The original Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, one of my favorite. I rank that higher than The Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. I still rank that higher. The only Batman film that was better to me was The Dark Knight. Okay. Other movies that I really liked, not in my top 10. I mean, Black Panther is definitely in my top 10. It's not as high as a lot of people are ranking it to me. I love the film. I didn't get enough action from it though. Okay, the action doesn't compare to me to The Winter Soldier, to Civil War. I like the Black Panther and his action scenes in the Civil War than I did in the actual Black Panther movie. I was disappointed by the final fight with him and Killmonger in the train area thing. I thought that scene should have been a better scene. Nothing, as good as that movie was, I was just disappointed with the action scenes. That's it. I wanted more. They weren't bad, but compared to other Marvel films, I just needed more. And it was just too many movies down the list that action-wise, even though I still rank that in my top 10, there's too many Marvel or superhero films that had much better action, in my opinion, okay, than a Black Panther. A lot of people, I have this discussion with people, and a lot of people are like, the Black Panther, and I'm like, did you see him in Civil War? And they didn't even know he was in Civil War. They didn't even know who the White Wolf was at the end of Black Panther movie. They're like, who's this guy? And I'm like, yo, dude, did you see The Winter Soldier? How did you not see The Winter Soldier? How did you not see the Civil War? But it is what it is. People are not into the movie. I mean, it is what it is. Not everybody's into comics like that. But Black Panther is up there in my top 10. DC films. Let's speak briefly on that. I'm not a big DC fan as far as the movies. I'm a big DC fan. Batman is my favorite superhero ever, period. Number one, without a doubt. But as far as the movies are concerned, I'm not really that crazy about them, okay? As far as the Superman movies, I've never been crazy about one single Superman movie. The only Superman movie I liked from the past was Superman 2. The other ones are no. Superman 2, I liked Man of Steel because of the action scenes. I thought they were good. But besides that, wasn't really that great of a film. Uh, I thought Wonder Woman was good, really good, not great, but it was really good compared to the other DC films. That was the only really good one. Batman v Superman, not a horrible movie. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't like him as Bruce Wayne. I know that sounds weird. All right. Yo, we gotta have a Batman. Maybe one day I'll do a video on a Batman acting movie video. I'm weird when it comes to, because Christian Bale, I hated as Batman. I didn't like him as Batman, but I liked him as Bruce Wayne. Whereas Ben Affleck, I didn't like him as Bruce Wayne, but I loved him as Batman. I thought he was great as a Batman when he was in the actual suit. His voice, his demeanor, and Batman v Superman, he just seemed so scary. You know, he was just badass. Whereas Christian Bale, I hated his voice as Batman. His voice is totally threw me off. I hated that shit. All right. I will do a rank one day. Michael Keaton was a great Batman to me. Obviously, because Batman 1 was like one of my favorites. But I didn't care for the other Batmans. You know, Batman Returns was okay. Batman 3 sucked. Batman 4 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, with Schwarzenegger and all that. But anyway, I thought Batman v Superman was a disappointment. Okay, it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't good neither. You know, it wasn't good. It didn't suck, but it wasn't good. Okay, and Justice League was awful. Justice League was like the worst one. Like, Justice League, the only scene of the whole entire movie that I liked was the beginning when Steppenwolf came to Earth and the Amazons, like the Wonder Woman girls, were fighting against him, and they were trying to keep that cube away from him. That was the greatest scene of that whole movie. After that, the rest of the movie sucked. There's no scene that I liked out of that. Even the fight between Superman, it was just poorly executed. I didn't like Aquaman. I didn't like Flash. I didn't like anyone in that film. It was just a really, really bad film. I didn't like Cyborg. I didn't like anything. I didn't like the pacing of the movie. I was watching the movie, can't wait till it was over. I was sitting there just looking at my watch like, I got to get the hell out of here. I don't know what's up with DC, but they just can't get it together, man. I know they was trying to keep up with Marvel, and I don't know what it was, man. They just poorly executed all of their movies. I'm not, because there's some heavy comic book people going to come here in the comments. I am not no comic book wizard. Like, you know, I don't know everything, but I know enough, a little bit more than the average casual movie going fan. And what I will say is that the DC movies, they just can't get it together. I don't know what they need. I don't know what they're gonna do. Anyway, movies I forgot. Movies that are also in my top 10. X-Men Days of Future Past, definitely in my top 10. And Logan is definitely in my top 10. Those are my two favorite X-Men films. I think the only other one that I really enjoyed was First Class and X2. But they're not top 10 films. They're good films. It seems like I think the other X-Men movies beside that were bad. I didn't like X-Men 1. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. X-Men 3 was horrible. One of the worst comic book films in my opinion. What other films? X-Men Apocalypse was disappointing. Wasn't bad. Kind of view it the way I viewed Batman v Superman. Not a bad film, but not a film that, wasn't really that good neither, I'm trying to get everything in order here. Now, let's talk about some older movies, and then we're going to move on from this. as far as the older movies are concerned, I like Punisher Warzone. I know that's like random, but I like that movie. I thought Punisher was good in that movie. I loved him on a Netflix show. Speaking of Netflix shows, I'm not big into them. I like the Punisher. Uh, that was it. You know, I thought Luke Cage was cool. Uh, but besides that, I'm not crazy about the Netflix TV series of shows. I'm not. I don't really even the DC ones. I'm not really big into. Never was really big into the shows like that. Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and the Shield, and I'm not really big. They don't really do anything for me like that. But I did like the Punisher, and I do like Daredevil. Daredevil, I like those two. That's it. A lot. And Luke Cage is okay. Luke Cage was cool. Uh, but yo, Daredevil sucked. Uh, all the other Punisher movies, even the old one with Dolph Lundgren, that was bad. The old Captain America movie was bad. A lot of you probably don't even know there was an old Captain America movie that was bad. Uh, I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. Watchmen. Big fan of that movie. Okay. I love that movie. That was a great movie. And it's funny because I didn't follow the book. Okay, that I didn't follow it. Watching that movie, I actually caught up to the book after the movie. But that was one of those movies that uh, I thought was a lot of critics for that movie. A lot of people weren't a fan of it. I enjoyed it. You know, just the story was a well written movie. I think people went in there thinking that this was going to be like X-Men, like a group of fighters and they just those superpowers and shit. Nah, it wasn't like that. You know, for what it was, I thought it was an incredible movie, and I think still to this day, I think that trailer to that movie was the greatest trailer ever, in my opinion. That trailer to that film, because I remember watching that trailer. It was when the Dark Knight came out. I think that was the greatest trailer of a movie I've ever seen. And I love the movie. All right. Trying to think if anything I'm leaving out. Top tens, no order. Infinity War. The first Avengers movie. Oh, I'm forgetting about Avengers. Thor. As far as the MCU, the Winter Soldier and Civil War, like I said, the first Avenger film doesn't hold up to what it was to me. I've seen that as well recently. It just doesn't hold up to me. I thought Captain America was extremely corny up into the Winter Soldier. I never liked him. He seemed to get better in every film. He was great in Infinity War. He was great in Winter Soldier. He was great in Civil War. But I didn't like him until recently. Okay. The Thor series, Thor 1 was okay. I thought it was cool. I thought Thor 2 kind of sucked. And I thought Thor Ragnarok was great. I have no complaints with that film, but it was just too funny for me. I wanted some seriousness in it, and I didn't get that. I have no complaints on the film. The film itself was good. I left the movie theater. I don't know. My expectations was high because the trailer was really good. It was a great trailer. Spider-Man movies. I'm like, I don't know. I'm up and down. I enjoyed Spider-Man 1 and 2, the original one, a lot. Spider-Man 3. You know, I ain't gonna lie. I liked Spider-Man 3 when it first came out, but then I realized how stupid it was later when I was like, all right, it's 3 villains. Venom deserves his own movie with Spider-Man. Spider-Man with Garfield. I didn't really like him as Spider-Man. I didn't like him. He's just, nah. I didn't like him. I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man movie was good. I thought the second one with Jamie Foxx, that was horrible. And then Homecoming was cool. Homecoming was good. Homecoming was good because the Vulture was a good villain too. You know, so I think that Michael Keaton as the Vulture was good. He's a good villain. He was a good villain. Loki was a good villain. Who else? Killmonger was a great villain. Uh, and you know, you got Thanos. Um, Iron Man movies. Iron Man 3 sucked. Iron Man 2 was okay. Iron Man 1 was good. Trying to, I don't know. But, alright. I didn't know where I was going with this video. I'm just talking. Um, I'm just having a geek talk. But definitely in my top 10, Infinity War, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Dark Knight. This is not in order. The original Batman film, Logan, Days of Future Past, X-Men Days of Future Past, Black Panther, probably Blade 1 and 2. That's 10 movies. Off top, those are the 10 films that I would probably put in my top 10. I didn't put it in order, but those are my top 10 all-time favorite. And then some of the ones that I like that a lot of people don't like Watchmen. Love that film. Punisher Warzone was great too. Nobody liked that film. Whatever. Anyway, I'm done talking about comic books. More boxing videos will be coming soon. If I'm not doing videos, it's because I'm just too busy, man. Alright, but hope you guys enjoyed my comic book talk. Let me know what you guys think in the comics. And let me know what you think of Infinity War. Where do you rank that? You know, I've seen people ranked it in their number 1. Some people ranked it in the top 5. Most people ranked it in the top 5 from what I've seen. All right, Thanos was excellent. You know, I just don't know what they're gonna do with part 2. I'm not excited for Miss Marvel. Okay, I was like everybody else in the movie theater. I knew that she was probably gonna come. I saw her sign. I knew right away who she was. Just as a comic book guy, I was never really a fan of her. Didn't really follow her like that. Most people in the movie theater had a blank look on their face. They didn't even know who the hell they were. I think they're forcing that. I'm not gonna get into that because I don't want to draw any unwanted attention to my channel. But I think that whole Miss Marvel thing is a little forced. Okay. There's plenty of other superheroes that I would have loved to find out that they were going to be in this movie. I wish Silver Surfer was in this film because he's really in the story. They just, you know, I know that movie rights is, you know, Fox, you got Sony, you got all this other shit, Marvel, whatever. But yo, I'm not excited for Miss Marvel. I don't care. I don't know how they're gonna do this. My prediction, I think they're gonna, you know, find a way to reverse everything that happened. Obviously, all those people are not gonna stay dead. Even though it was cool to see them die, I know better. You know, they're not gonna stay dead. You know. But anyway, I'm out, yo.